Hey again, all you lovelies. Thanks for joining us. Today I'm going to give you just a little bit of a background of who we are, mainly because A, for selfish reasons, I'd kind of like to have this as a record, and B, just because when I've watched other Chateau shows, I've always wondered, who are these people? Where have they been? Where are they from? What are they doing? And so I just decided to go ahead and share some of that with you. I hope you enjoy. I hope you're not going to be too bored. And I'm looking forward in your comments to hear what you have to say. But again, it is a very personal thing. So if you want to skip this episode, skip the episode. But I just thought you might be interested. We'll talk to you later. This story begins with my mom's history. Here she is on the steps of their little house in Havre, Montana. As a little girl, she lost her dad. He had worked on the railway, and so it was left with her mom and her two sisters, and then some cousins came and lived with them as well. And she ended up going to Bible college and graduating. And at college, she had a friend, Ruth Schwint, and Mom was in her wedding party. That's Ruth in the center on the left. And my father was best man for the groom, and that's where my mom and dad met. Consequently, soon after, there was another wedding. Here is a picture of my father with his parents, and he grew up in the Kitchener-Waterloo, Elmira area of Ontario. I love seeing a picture of Dad in his little round glasses. They spent many years on the farm and eventually moved into Elmira. They had a house at 4 Queen Street in Elmira, Ontario. This picture of the home. He then went to Bible college, and this is a graduation picture of his class, and I believe also his ordination ceremony. Once a pastor, he pioneered a church in Listowel, Ontario, and then did evangelical work on the road, and then they settled in Dawson Creek, British Columbia. While they were still on the road in evangelical work, Mom and Dad had their first child, is Terry, and he was born in 1955. I came into my mom and dad's life in 1962. They did adopt me. It was a private adoption from somebody that they knew. And here's a picture of my Auntie Elaine and myself and my brother when we were little. I was always a water baby. I can remember this day like it was yesterday. I snuck out of my crib and crawled into the kitchen because I smelt my mom baking chocolate chip cookies. From Dawson Creek, when I was 3, we actually moved to Chilliwack. This is the house in Chilliwack, and it was next door to the church. This was a parsonage, and we lived here till I was 9. I was kind of a dorky kid. We had all the regular old-fashioned birthday parties, and some of these people in here are still my friends to this day. Wow, how fashionable am I? Yay for the 60s. During elementary school, we were so blessed because we had Mr. Greenwood, the teacher that you see in the lower right there. He was a musical writer, and we got to do Pantero's Gold and the Singing Mountain And that's just one of the most wonderful memories. I was always involved in music and art. And as far as art, if you see the girl doing the handstand on the wall back there in the gym, my friend Carol and I made that in grade 7, and they still have it up there today. Here's our entire family together, which is a very beloved picture of mine and my father's family together. They always tried their best to dress me up, and here I'm a flower girl in my aunt and uncle's wedding. It never usually lasted for long because I was kind of a hippie farmer at heart, even though I was in the city. We unfortunately had a very sad moment in our lives that has affected the rest of my life. My brother that you see here, that was very beloved, was killed in a motorcycle accident. And moving forward from this was really difficult for me. After this time, really did start to throw myself into my music and art and photography and spending time with mom and dad. You see me here in a design class, doing fashion design. I also studied interior design and continued with some of that in the future. Really did have a wonderful set of teachers at our school in Chilliwack. My mom was very conscious of her fashion and was fashion forward, yet staying modest because of being a minister's wife. And I was always very proud of her for that. After my brother passed away, my grandma and grandpa moved out, and we ended up buying a duplex. And grandma and grandpa lived downstairs, and we lived upstairs. And then went on to graduate. After that, went to Bible college, got married, and ended up adopting 2 lovely children. We did have 2 other children of our own that both passed away, and without going into a lot of detail, ended up with ruptured uterus and some things happened. So ended up adopting these 2 beautiful babies. One of our family's claim to fame is this man here, named Simon Slatvik, and he's in Lillehammer, Norway. He was the 1952 Olympic gold medalist ski jumper. So we were able to go to Norway and see his home and their family, and that's his trophy case. He did come and visit us all in Chilliwack, and we got to know him a little bit better. That was a great deal of fun for us. Mom and Dad would come to visit often. We had a small hobby farm out in Columbia Valley, outside of Chilliwack in British Columbia. Unfortunately, the marriage did not last, but I have the most wonderful kids, Sherry and Terry, that mom and dad would come and visit all the time, and we had so much fun together. And mom, here's a picture of her in Disneyland with the kids. Just so many wonderful memories. And then the next sad part came where we discovered my mom was sick with pancreatic cancer and passed away within a month of finding out. In my beginning adult years, I had many different jobs. First, an ophthalmic assistant, and then transitioning into dispensing optician and contact lens tech. I was a sales rep all across the United States for a bridal veil company for a little while, and then went into photography for many years, working as a preschool photographer for a national company. I also worked as a Screen Actors Guild actor, and in Las Vegas worked a lot of live shows and conventions and things like that. And also in the film industry, had a lot of fun working Ocean's 11, Ocean's 13, Rat Race, actually over 30 productions over the course of time so far. After working many, many years for a national photography company, I actually started my own, and that was a lot of fun. After a period of time, my dad went and actually found his sweetheart from when he was really young, and they got married. And I took Sherry and Terry, and we made a trip of it, went to New York and all over. And then we had a lot of different family get-togethers. That was a lot of my focus. My grandmother had her 90th birthday, and we were able to all be together for that. And again, another wonderful memory for us. We were now heading into a whole new stage of life. Having been on my own for quite a while, I was very fortunate to have met this handsome, debonair, lovely man, and who eventually became my husband. This is some of David's history. This is a picture of David with his sister. They spent a lot of time living in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He went on to university. He attended MIT. He's actually got quite a list of university experience. And he's taught at universities as a professor. He is a civil engineer, and he specializes in risk management. He's worked on the Bay Bridge project. He's worked on Panama Canal, the expansion of Panama Canal. I was fortunate enough to be able to go with him to Panama. The first few years of our life really revolved around university. My husband was president of UNLV, and our family came out to visit. We enjoyed the basketball games and the camaraderie and all the incredibly wonderful people there. It was just some really good times. It was also an exciting time at home because we got our first grandbaby, and this is when Sydney was first introduced to us, and our whole family came out to Las Vegas, and we spent some time together. David and I were married, and we had a reception at UNLV where we were able to have a lot of the people there, and we also had our actual ceremony elsewhere, and we were able to have family and friends with us. It was all just really beautiful. Some of my favorite times at UNLV were some of the special events with the students and getting to spend time with them, hang out with them. Here I am making pancakes for them in the morning, and women's basketball team over at our house, and a lot of the lovely concerts and events we got to attend. We will always be so thankful for that time together. We managed to take some trips together. We went to Greece. It's one of the places I'd always wanted to see, and David had been invited to be a speaker there. So we had a wonderful time seeing Athens and Thessaloniki and a few other places. We actually had a meal in the wall of a city just outside of Thessaloniki, and that's how we spent actually a Thanksgiving Day. It was wonderful. David was doing more work with the expansion of Panama Canal, and so we went and spent just a few days there while he was working on it. It was a really unique experience. We went to Panama City, and it was a little stormy, but it was lovely. They have a lot of restaurants on this little piece of land that juts out into the water. It's really great. And then we went out to a place called Bocas del Toro, yeah. And it was very much a local part of Panama, but it was wonderful for seaside views. If you're a snorkeler or scuba diver, it had really inexpensive food and drinks. It was really a unique experience. We went to MIT, and I got to see where David had gone to college. And we also went to Harvard because we had to take some courses there. That was a really unique experience for me because I had never been around any of that type of life at all. I took David up to Canada and showed him where I grew up, just outside of Vancouver, in Chilliwack. And in Vancouver, we went to see the Queen Elizabeth Gardens. If you're there, go see it. It's one of the most spectacular parts of Vancouver, in my opinion, Queenie Park and Stanley Park. We had a really nice time with Dad and Jean there, and a really nice memory for all of us. We went to Gastown in Vancouver, and also on that trip we went to White Rock, and that is a lovely beach town just outside of Vancouver. I spent a lot of time there while growing up. In Chilliwack again, we just had some nice meals with family and friends. David just having more of an opportunity to get to know everybody. We also went on then to Disneyland and spent some nice time together there, just unwinding from being so busy in our regular everyday lives, just truly unwinding and having some fun together. It was really fun being able to go to Terry's college graduation and spend a little more time with our adult children. Later, we flew back to Chilliwack and threw Dad an 80th birthday party. We had family come in. This aunt here that you see on the left, we were so fortunate to have her there. And it was the last time we saw her because she then went to Haiti to do volunteer work and was killed in the earthquakes there. So you never know how important this family time is together. So really important to take that time out every now and again when we can. As I was working in Maui, David came with me and we got to spend just a little bit of time together there while I was busy photographing preschool children. Back at UNLV, we're really busy with conferences and meetings and summits. This is an especially interesting one. We also had the student body leaders come to our house, made meal for us and for the leadership of the student body. We were able to go to the racetrack and meet Mark Martin in his trailer just before he drove his very last race before his retirement. This is the moment that David got to cut down the net when we won the conference championship. Yay! This is, of course, Terry Fader, who is an entertainer in Las Vegas. He came to one of our robotics competitions at the university, and we got to host the USA Olympic team. We had some games at the university, and they did practices there. And David was able to have a picture with them, so that's like one of our prized possessions. We had a wonderful time at this game, and really looking back now, it is a little bit difficult because Kobe was there right in front of us. We had all of the greats, and just one of those wonderful events that you'll never forget for your entire life. One of the things my mom always wanted to do and was never able to was to go to New York City and see Radio City Music Hall and see the parade. And she never was able to do it. And so David decided that he would make sure that I had that opportunity. And I will never forget the thoughtfulness involved in that. And New York has become one of our favorite places. We're just going to let some pictures run here, and you can take a look and see some of the things we saw and did. A funny story is we were in line to buy tickets to one of the plays, and somebody from Late Show with David Letterman came up to us and asked us if we wanted tickets for the night. We thought this was a hoax, but it turned out it was real, and we got great seats and were able to be there for the Late Show. I really am a Disneyland geek and need to go regularly to Disneyland. I'm an adrenaline junkie, and so fortunately I have a husband that's a little bit understanding, let's say, but we have a really good time together when we go. I'm including these pictures in for my husband's sake, just to remind him of the time we went on Thunder Mountain Railroad and the ride got stuck and we had to climb our way back down. Back at UNLV, we had the presidential debates, and so we had a lot of interesting guests. We actually had quite a few different political type events and talks, and I found them to be incredibly educational and inspirational, frankly. One of the things I will always be most thankful for was the opportunity to go to the inauguration of President Barack Obama in Washington. That was just something that I don't know I'll ever be able to top. We were given tickets by a senator to the VIP section for the actual inauguration, and then we were invited to the ball in the evening. We were pretty exhausted. We started our day, I believe it was around 3:30 in the morning, in order to be able to actually get into the inauguration. And then the event in the evening went quite late. And honestly, we actually went home before it was finished. We were just so completely exhausted. But what a day, what an event. And I really wish everybody could feel the excitement and the unity of that day. It was just unbelievable. In years past, David actually helped develop University of Merced, and this was a day Michelle Obama was coming to be the speaker, and we were invited. We were actually picked up by Secret Service from our hotel and driven in one of those black SUVs to the event. That was an interesting day. we decided, since I had been doing quite a lot of work in Hawaii, to go ahead and buy a condo there. And we're really glad we did. We got to have some time in the ocean. We're both snorkelers, and so got to do some swimming, snorkeling, and basic unwinding. I was also excited to be able to get back into some other types of photography other than just my preschool photography, and had a little bit of fun in Makaha being able to do that. Back in Las Vegas, we were happy to have our family visiting. We were in the middle of some major life changes as far as, we were deciding whether to adopt, and I was working as a CASA, court-appointed special advocate with foster kids, and we were thinking about adopting and going through classes. So it was really nice to have family there and having some support from them before everything was about to change for us. It was time for some changes. We left Las Vegas. We ended up adopting 3 children from the foster system, and they became our wonderful children, Portia, Piper, and Martin. We had the house in Hawaii built and ended up moving there full time, and just started to enjoy an entire new life. One of the things many of you don't know is that while in Hawaii, I went through medical treatment, and while in that treatment, I basically couldn't even walk to the kitchen and back. And so during that time, I ended up starting to watch Downton Abbey on television. And once I came through treatment and recovered, my daughter and I decided to go to Highclere Castle to see where Downton Abbey had been filmed. I'm just going to let you enjoy the photos of Highclere, and then the next day we went back and got to see the grounds during the daytime. Just enjoy the photos, and that way you kind of get to see what it's like behind the scenes there. David was given an opportunity with USC, so we ended up moving to Los Angeles, and I opened my business there, which was Buena Vista Optics. Also, because I'm a SAG actor, I was able to go to the Screen Actors Guild Awards. And while there, the cast of Downton Abbey was getting an award. So we got to spend a lot of time at the after party with the cast of Downton Abbey. And let's just say the rest after that was history. We had a great time at this event and ended up with some long-lasting relationships. And not because of this, but because of it sparking more interest, I ended up working with NBC Universal and getting the contract for Downton Abbey eyewear. And, you know, the momentum has just gone from there and really has brought us to where we are today. This basically takes us up to where we started looking at properties in France, and you can see those videos right here below. So thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this, press like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.